It all started when David Pierce picked up his usual prescription at the local pharmacy. As the pharmacist, a young woman with striking green eyes and a warm smile slipped the medication into a paper bag. She added a glossy pamphlet with a quick, "This might be the best decision you ever make." Within a day of applying, David received a call for an interview. The company, MedTech Solutions, specialized in pharmaceutical data and research. The interviews were remote, professional but unusually fast-paced. By the end of the week, David had the job. He was ecstatic, free meds, and a decent salary. It felt like he'd just won the lottery. When he arrived for his first day of work, David was surprised that the MedTech office wasn't in the city, but located deep in a secluded industrial park. Employees had to park their cars in a lot miles away and take a company shuttle to the actual facility. The building itself was huge, sleek, and surrounded by what seemed like endless fields. Security was tight. As David got off the shuttle with a dozen other new hires, guards checked their bags and pockets, took temperatures, and ran them through scanners. "You're clear," one of the guards grumbled. His eyes never seemed to focus on any one thing. "Remember, you pass through here in and out every day." High security facility. David shrugged it off, chalking it up to typical corporate paranoia. Once inside, they were greeted by a cheerful woman named Sandra, who'd handed each of them a welcome kit. It contained a MedTech branded notebook, some snacks, and surprisingly 2 bottles of pills. Exactly what David was prescribed. "Company policy," Sandra explained, smiling brightly. "All medication is to be taken on site. You'll get a new supply every week." Some of the new hires exchanged confused glances, but no one voiced any objections. David raised an eyebrow, a little caught off guard by the comment. "Best decision?" he asked, unsure whether she was referring to the pamphlet or something else. "How much do you pay for your meds?" she inquired, leaning forward slightly. David sighed, knowing the answer all too well. $600 for 14 pills, he muttered. The pharmacist gave a sympathetic nod. "What if I told you that there's a way to get those for free? All you need to do is look into that pamphlet." David smiled awkwardly but took the bag and left, feeling curious but skeptical. At home, he tossed the pamphlet onto the kitchen table, where it sat for a few days, gathering dust next to his unpaid bills. The pamphlet advertised a job, an entry-level position with excellent pay and even better benefits. Most intriguing of all was that employees received free medication, including whatever they were already prescribed. For David, whose medication ate up most of his paycheck, this sounded too good to pass up. David's first few weeks were, in many ways, a dream come true. The work was simple, mostly data entry, reviewing health profiles and categorizing patients based on their conditions. Every day, he entered data on names, conditions, blood pressure readings, and dietary restrictions, and dropped them into different product categories. Vitamin B19, vitamin X22, and so on. He didn't fully understand what the data meant, but figured it wasn't his job to ask questions. Plus, the perks were unbelievable. They served breakfast and lunch every day, offered unlimited coffee and kombucha, and the atmosphere was surprisingly relaxed for such a high-security company. The only strange thing was that David began to notice something odd about the time. Every day, right as 4 o'clock p.m. hit, a new batch of data would come in, doubling the workload. He found himself working later and later, trying to finish up before the 5 o'clock p.m. deadline. When he finished, he'd rush out to catch the shuttle home. But one day, he missed it. David and a handful of other employees stood dumbfounded as the shuttle left without them. A quick check of the schedule revealed a small, critical detail at the bottom of the page. The last shuttle departed at 4 o'clock p.m. The next wouldn't come until 7 o'clock a.m. Frustration grew quickly. One man started yelling for help, banging on locked doors, while others nervously fidgeted, realizing they were trapped for the night. David tried to stay calm. There's got to be someone who can help, he thought. As if on cue, Sandra appeared. She seemed unfazed by the chaos, carrying a tray with steak, vegetables, and what appeared to be a small pill on the side. "You missed the shuttle," she said, as though it happened all the time. "No worries. Come with me, and I'll show you around." Sandra led David through the halls of various recreational rooms, movie theaters, gyms, gaming rooms, and lounges filled with other employees. Some played video games, others read books or watched sports on massive screens. The whole place was set up like a luxury resort for workers. "If you need to stay, it's really not so bad," she said. "You can even stay overnight in our employee dorms. They're comfortable, and we have everything you might need." "But what if I need to go home?" David asked, his stomach tightening with unease. Sandra's smile never faltered. "You can go home any time. Just make sure you catch the shuttle before 4 p.m. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay." The more time David spent at MedTech, the more unsettling things became. The once luxurious perks felt more like golden handcuffs. David noticed fewer and fewer employees left at the end of the day. Many seemed content to live on site, taking advantage of the free meals and activities. It was as if MedTech's offer of health and security had made them forget their lives outside the complex. David tried to leave early one day, but he didn't finish his work in time. When he asked Sandra about taking time off for a family event, she mentioned something called PTO, which didn't kick in until a year later. Then came the real kicker. "You know," Sandra said one afternoon, her voice soft but firm, "if you leave the company, you won't be able to get your medication anywhere else." David stared at her, his heart pounding. "What do you mean?" "You've seen our system," she said. "Our medication is proprietary. If you quit, your access to it will be cut off. And the market price without the company's discount." She hesitated before adding, "It's $40,000 for a 2-week supply." Panic set in. MedTech wasn't just offering free meds. They were trapping him. Without the medication, his condition would worsen, and he'd be bankrupt within months. David spent the next few days in a haze, grappling with the horrifying realization that MedTech owned him. The other employees seemed resigned to their fate, living comfortable but confined lives within the facility's walls. Sandra reassured him that life there was pleasant, even fulfilling. "You can go home for holidays, special occasions, or just to visit your family. After all, you could get PTO," she said, her tone ever so upbeat. But David knew the truth now. The company had sold him a dream and delivered a gilded prison. Every breath of fresh air, every walk in the fields surrounding the facility, it was all just an illusion of freedom. As the days passed, David sat at his desk, staring out the window at the endless fields, his hands trembling as he realized that, for all his new wealth and health, he had never been more trapped in his life.